All right. So I'm going to walk you through my to-do list app. So I've got a whole bunch of CSS. That basically just makes it look nice. I've got a very little bit of HTML. Basically just a title, a button, and an area to put my lists. Then in the JavaScript, which is pretty much everything, we have all of the stuff. So this one, as you can probably see right away, heavily utilizes the create element function. So, and event listeners, and also get element by index, or sorry, by ID. So essentially, the first thing we have up top is we have the list button. So that's the new list button here. So we are just getting access to the button from the HTML. So we're using document get element by ID, and then that is the ID of the button in the HTML. Then we have a list wrapper, which will contain the lists. This, again, is the area I mentioned earlier in the HTML for the lists. So again, document get element by ID lists. So that's essentially right now, it's sort of an invisible square here in the middle of the screen. The first thing that we're going to do is we are putting a event listener on the new list button. So this will recognize when it is clicked and it will do something. And in this case, it will do quite a lot of things. So when the new list button is clicked, it is going to create a div and give it the class name of list. Then it is going to create an input and give it the class name of enter item. Then it's going to create another div, and that's going to be called to-dos. Then it's going to create another element, which is a button this time. It's going to call it save items, and it's going to give it the text context of a plus symbol. So the button will just be a plus. And I've styled it to be a circle with a plus in the middle through the CSS. Then we also have a delete, which is another button, and it is a delete list option. So this is actually to delete the whole list. Then we have an event listener, which when that delete list button is clicked, the whole list is removed. So this is using list.remove, which this is the first time I've ever used remove. So that was quite interesting. After that, we go into the image, which is a little trash can. This is the image for the delete list. So basically the delete list icon is just a little trash can. And in this case, we take the image and we append it to the delete list. So that sort of combines them together. I think I need to do a little bit more research to really understand how append works. And I've used it quite a few times throughout. So I think I'm sort of in a position where I understand how to utilize it. And I think I understand the basics that it sort of combines those items into that div or that container that you are appending it to. But I'm sure there's more to it. So I'm still, this is the first time I've ever used this. And then we have a create, and the create is actually just a div, which essentially includes the input, the save list, and the delete list. So what you'll see when we create a list is at the top of the list, there'll be an input field, a save button, and a delete button. And that's sort of all contained within one div called create. And the reason for that is so that I can line up those three elements and easily sort of space them out and move them around. So the create div includes those three elements that we have generated through the create element code up here. Then we move to the save list. So this is this save list element, and this is the function for that list, that save list button. And basically what that does is it's super short. It saves the thing that you type into the input field as like a to-do item. So what I did is I first created a row, and very similar to how I did the create, which is a row of items. The to-do row is a row of, it's a checkbox, an input value, and a delete button. So in this case, we've created the input using the create element again. We've created a span, which is actually equal to the input value. So when we click the save button, whatever is in the initial input is going to be displayed in that span. Then we have a button to delete the row, and this is to like delete the single item off the list, and that is just an X. So it's just it's just an X with basically no styling attached. Then what we've done is I've made it so when you click the checkbox, so when the state of the checkbox changes, which is here, change, then it basically checks to see, is the checkbox checked? And if it's checked, then apply the style text decoration of line through, so like a strike through. If it's not checked, then just leave it alone. Don't do anything. And then we move down to the delete row button. If the delete row button is clicked, then it removes the whole row. So that's why up here we created a row to contain the checkbox, the text, and the delete button. So the delete button deletes all three of those things. And as you can see, that's exactly what happens here. On the append, you take the to-do row, and we've appended the checkbox, the text, and the delete button. Then we take the whole row and append it to the to-dos. I probably should have maybe done a little bit better job of naming all of these things a bit more clearly. But the to-do row is the individual item, and the to-dos is the whole set of items, essentially. This input value clear, basically what this means is that once you click the save button, because this is still all inside of the giant save function here. So when you click the save button, once it's done all of this stuff, it will then clear the input. So it allows you to then type something else in. And then at the very end, we are doing more appending. We are appending the create and the to-dos to a list. So that's basically saying we want to make sure that in the list you have the banner, or sorry, the input at the top, which in the create has an input, a save, and a delete. And then the to-dos, as we saw back a few lines above, is the to-do row, and that is the checkbox, the to-do text, and the delete row. So that's essentially containing all of the rows that you create. That's all appended into the list, and then the whole list is appended into the wrapper. And the reason I've done it that way is because you can make multiple lists. So to see it all in action, you go here, you click new list, a list element is created with the input. So you say hello, first item, then you click the plus button, and that will add this item to your list. Then you can do this again and add it there. When you check the checkbox, it should strike through the text, because that's what this function over here does. Puts the line through. So we check that off, and it puts the line through. And again here. Then, if you'd like to delete the individual item, you click on the X, and it deletes the item. And if you'd like to delete the entire list, you click the trash can, and it deletes the whole list. And just to show you, you can make multiple lists. So this is basically my simple to-do list. It currently does not save, in the sense like I have not figured out yet how to use local storage. So I will have to work on that. But yeah, once I figure that out, then you'll be able to save your to-do list as well. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.